Okay, so for this video, we're going to look at 4 problems from the chapter review. So chapter 2 review, page 204, 2.2. So this is where we learned the multiplication property. The multiplication property just says if you need to move a number away from your variable in order to isolate your variable, you do the opposite of whatever it's doing. So what is the opposite of multiplying? Yep, it's dividing. What's opposite of dividing? It's multiplying. So that's what we're going to practice here. So number 6 from the chapter review, x divided by 8 equals 10. So I have the left side and I have the right side. One second. So here's the left side of the equation and here's the right side of the equation. X is in the left side, and who else is in the left side with x? 8. So 8 is in x's territory, which means I need it to move. But 8 is doing what with x? What operation is going on between them? 8's dividing. It's dividing, which means now, how am I going to move something that's dividing? What's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So I'm going to multiply the left side of the equation by 8, which means I have to do the same thing to the right side of the equation. Okay, so 8 times x over 8 equals 8 times 10. 8 divided by 8, they cancel each other out, and you're just left with that 1. So you get 1x, or just x, equals 80. Okay, you can quickly check this. Just plug 80 in for x. So that would be 80 divided by 8 is 10, so it works. So x equals 80 is the solution to this equation. Alright, let's move on to number 9. Negative 36 equals negative 9y. I'm solving for y, which means I need to get everything away from y. Who is in y's territory right now? The negative 9. What's going on between the negative 9 and y? What's the operation between them? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing. Remember, if I don't see it, I assume it to be multiplying. So they're multiplying. What's the opposite of multiplying? Yes, it's dividing, which means I need to divide the right side as well as the left side by negative 9. Divide by negative 9. Divide by negative 9. So negative 36 divided by negative 9 is positive 4 equals y. And again, we can quickly plug that in for y. What's negative 9 times 4? Negative 36. It works out. Good. So we had a problem where we had to isolate our variable by multiplying, isolate our variable by dividing. Let's see what we have going on in number 12. So this says negative x equals 25. Alright, so we always talk about isolating the variable. The variable needs to be by himself with a coefficient of positive 1. What is the coefficient right now on x? What does that negative in front of x mean? It means negative 1x. So that's negative 1x. Let's write it again. Negative 1x equals 25. So my coefficient isn't a positive 1, it's a negative 1, which means I need to isolate my variables still. And what's going on between the negative 1 and x? What's the operation between them? It's multiplying, which means I'm going to end up dividing by negative 1 on both sides. They cancel here. And I have x equals 25 divided by negative 1 is negative 25. And again, you can plug it in quickly to check. Alright, number 17 is totally different from number 6, 9, and 12. This time I have the variable on both sides of the equation. I have it on the left side as well as on the right side. And remember, I think we worked a problem like this before if you looked at the previous video. When my variables are on the left, my variable is on the left as well as on the right, I have to get them together. And we move the one with the smallest coefficient. So this has a coefficient of 5. And what's this coefficient? It's 1. Who's smaller? The 1. So this is 1x. It's a positive 1x, which means when I want to move it, I subtract. 1x on the left side of the equal sign as well as on the right side. And let's see what we get here. 5x minus 1x is 4x. I still have that minus 3 equals 5. Okay, great. So now I have the x on the left side, which means I need to move everything away from it. And the first thing I'm going to move is that minus 3. So how do you move a minus 3? Yep, you got it. You add 3. Add 3 to both sides. They cancel here because negative 3 plus 3 is 0, and you're left with just 4x equals 8. So am I done? Have I isolated x to the point that it just has no one around him and just a positive 1 as its coefficient? Have I completed all of this? It appears I haven't because there's a 4 multiplying by x. There's a 4 right here. Which means, what's the opposite of multiplying? How do I move something that's multiplying? I would divide by 4. Divide by 4. And I end up with x equals 2. Alright, at this point, I'm going to leave this up to you to check this one. Is it really true? Does x equals 2? Plug it back in and see if it works. Remember to keep practicing problems and come to me if you have questions.